friends, welcome back to my channel Forest Biology. So today we are starting with the biological classification, the Enhancer One Shot Series second lesson. So this is for KCET needs and boards as well. Start with it. First, in the biological classification, we have various kingdoms like 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, 4 kingdom and 5 kingdom. First, the earliest classification was by Aristotle. He just divided as trees, shrubs and herbs for the plants and for the animals with red blood and without red blood cells. This was the earliest classification by Aristotle. The next one, 2 kingdom classification was given by Linnaeus. 2 kingdom Linnaeus. He divided into Plantae and Animalia. He did not distinguish like trees, shrubs, herbs like that. He just gave us Plantae and Animalia, but there he did not distinguish between these three, which are those prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are those which do not have a nucleus, definite nucleus, and eukaryotes are those which have nucleus. So he did not distinguish between these, and he also did not distinguish between unicellular and multicellular, photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic. So these three were not distinguished in the 2 kingdom classification. Next, Ernest Haeckel had given 3 kingdom classification. Herbert F. Copeland gave 4 kingdom classification. R.H. Whittaker gave 5 kingdom classification. So in this chapter we will be studying the R.H. Whittaker's 5 kingdom classification. Before that, what are the characteristics that he had taken into account is the cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, phylogenetic relationships. These 5 are the main characteristics through which he distinguished as 5 kingdoms. So these 5 are important, that is cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction and phylogenetic relationships. Now, the earlier classification included bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms under the plant. So in the earlier classification only, in the Plantae thing only, they included all of this, which are bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, everything was included that in the Plantae only, in the earlier classification. Climadomas and Spidogyra were placed under Algae. This was placed under Algae, and they did not differentiate between heterotrophic and autotrophic. Heterotrophic is, for example, a fungi whose cell wall is made up of chitin, and autotrophic is plants whose cell wall is made up of cellulose. In this biological classification, we will be studying basically 5 kingdoms, that is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So these are the 5 kingdoms which we will be studying. So the major thing which we have to remember here is for KCET or NEET or boards, whatever it is, Monera is prokaryotic. Prokaryotic means which does not have a well-defined nucleus, and all other, that is other 4 are eukaryotic. They have well-defined nucleus. So by thinking this only, Monera is prokaryotic. If you remember, you can remember what all comes under the kingdom Monera. Like prokaryotic means bacteria will be prokaryotic. So archaebacteria and eubacteria comes under kingdom Monera. So this is very important. Now see, bacteria are the sole members of this kingdom Monera as they are prokaryotic, right? Bacteria and the most abundant microorganisms on the earth is bacteria. So what you study about this kingdom is about bacteria you study. So now you can see there are various bacteria divided on the basis of various shapes. So we will be learning here the various shapes, and I will be teaching you in an easy way. Just remember the names now: Coccus, Bacillus, Vibrio, Spirillum, right? Coccus. See, here you have O, that is round shape, so it is spherical, okay? Coccus, spherical, round shape. Bacillus, Bacillus is a rod shape. B is that, no? R, B, R. Bacillus, rod shape, and it is a rod shape. Vibrium, this is very important. Vibrium is comma shaped bacteria. Vibrium, comma shaped. Spirillum, in this only it is that spirillum is spiral shape, that is, it looks something like this. So these are the classification based on the shape. Now coming to the next one, some bacteria are autotrophic and majority of the bacteria are heterotrophic. Autotrophic means what and all? Photosynthetic autotrophic and chemosynthetic autotrophic. So it can be divided into two types, photosynthetic and chemosynthetic. Photosynthetic means it will use the light to prepare its food. Chemosynthetic means it will use chemicals to prepare its food. But autotrophic means it can prepare its own food. So vast majority bacteria are heterotrophic. What they are heterotrophic? They depend on other organisms or dead organic matter. So they depend on other organisms or dead organic matter. Now there are two types, that is Archaebacteria and Eubacteria, which will be studying under kingdom Monera. So see, Archaebacteria, there are three types, or you can say there are three divisions which come under Archaebacteria. Okay, that is halophytes, thermoacidophytes, methanogens. Halophytes. What is halophytes? They live in salty areas. See, halophytes, salty areas. Okay. Next, thermoacidophytes. Thermo means temperature. So it will live in hot springs. Thermoacidophytes, hot springs. Methanogens is marshy area. M for methanogens, M for marshy area. So these Archaebacteria differ from other bacteria which we have studied here by having a different cell wall structure which helps them to live in the extreme condition. So the Archaebacteria cell wall is different from the normal bacteria because this Archaebacteria can live in extreme conditions. So it will be helpful for them. So the cell wall structure is different. Now moving to the methanogens. In the methanogens helps in producing biogas. It is present in the gut of the cattle, and this biogas is produced from the dung of the cattle. Now the next one is Eubacteria, which is also under the Monera kingdom, as we have studied. Eubacteria. Eu means true. Bacteria is bacteria. True bacteria is also called as Eubacteria. So what is this? It is characterized by the presence of rigid cell wall, and if motile, it has a flagellum. If motile, the Eubacteria has a flagellum. Otherwise also it is characterized by the rigid cell wall. Here the cell wall structure is different than the normal bacteria. Here it has a rigid cell wall. Now in Eubacteria we have cyanobacteria. This is very important. It may fetch your 4 marks in NEET or 1 mark in KCT. Even in boards it's importance as well. In cyanobacteria, you have chlorophyll A. Chlorophyll A is present in cyanobacteria. It is photosynthetic autotrophs. Photosynthetic autotrophs means it prepares its own foods with the help of light. It is unicellular. It may be colonial or filamentous. It may be present in a colony or substrate. It is found in freshwater, marine or terrestrial, wherever it can be found. Colonies generally are surrounded by gelatinous sheath. These colonies, I have told you, it may be colonial or filamentous. These colonies are generally surrounded by the gelatinous sheath. Some often bloom in polluted water. They often bloom in polluted water. Some of these contains heterosis, which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. This is very important. It contains specialized cells to fix atmospheric nitrogen called heterosis. Example where this is present is nostoc and anabina. These are very important, and there is a diagram given in the textbook which you have to go through it. That diagram is also very important. So heterosis is important. Next, chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria. What we have studied here? We have studied photosynthetic now. The photosynthetic autotrophic cyanobacteria. Now we are moving into the chemosynthetic autotrophic. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites and ammonia and use the released energy for the ATP production. What they will do? They will oxidize the various inorganic substances such as these things, nitrates, nitrites and ammonia, and they use the released energy from that chemical reaction for the ATP production. So this is the main idea of the chemosynthetic autotroph. So now what we have learned? We have learned these two, photosynthetic autotroph and chemosynthetic autotroph. Now we will be moving to the heterotrophic bacteria, which are most abundant. So these heterotrophic bacteria are the most abundant. They play a major role as a decomposer. They help in decomposing. They also help in curd preparing curd from milk, that is lactobacillus. They help in production of antibiotics like penicillin. Then fixing nitrogen in legume plants. These also help in fixing nitrogen in legume plants, but this doesn't have a specialized cell called heterosis, which is only present in nostoc and alumina. And this is very important. These are the various diseases: cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker are the various diseases caused by the bacteria. Now, next we are moving into the how do the bacteria reproduce. Bacteria reproduce by fission. They reproduce by fission. Under unfavorable conditions, they produce spores. They produce spores under unfavorable conditions, but they reproduce by fission. Now, this is, I have put 3 stars because this is very, very important. It is a small topic, but it can fetch you more marks. So, this is mycoplasma. It completely lacks cell wall. It completely lacks cell wall. It is the smallest living cell. It is the smallest living cell. It can survive without oxygen. It can survive without oxygen. Many are pathogenic. Many are pathogenic. So these both points are very, very important in the mycoplasma. So this is all about kingdom Monera. What and all we studied? Archaebacteria, Eubacteria. In Eubacteria, Cyanobacteria, then chemosynthetic autotroph, heterotrophic bacteria, then the mycoplasma we have studied. Next, moving to the kingdom Protista. In the kingdom Protista, as we saw here, it is eukaryotic, means it has well-defined nucleus. Boundaries are not well-defined. Primarily aquatic, they are primarily aquatic. Some have flagella or cilia. They have flagella or cilia. Reproduce asexually and sexually by process involving cell fusion and zygote formation. So reproduce asexually and sexually by a process involving cell fusion or zygote formation. So in this Protista, also how we had Archaebacteria and Eubacteria, here we have 5 types: chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime moths and protozoa. How to remember this? If you remember this in order, that time you can memorize your textbook if you don't know what is there in that. So how to remember this? C, D, E. You know A, B, C, D, E. C, D, E. Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids. Then comes slime moths and protozoans. The last 2 are slime molds and protozoans. So this is A, B, C, D, E. Slime moths, protozoans. In protozoans, also you have different types like amoeboid, flagellated, ciliated and sporozoans. Amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans and sporozoans. So these are the various types which comes under the kingdom Protista. Now let's see one by one the kingdom Protista. First one is chrysophytes. Here in chrysophytes we have diatoms and golden algae. It is also golden algae is also called as desmids. This is very important. Now the chrysophytes we find in the fresh water and marine water. Then it floats passively in water currents, mostly photosynthetic. That means it can prepare its own food. And these 3 are the features of chrysophytes. Now moving on to diatoms. These are the chief producers in ocean. It is a chief producer in ocean. This is very important. Cell wall forms 2 thin overlapping shells which together fit in a soap box. It is like it will fit in a soap box. It forms a 2 overlapping shells so that it fits in a soap box. The walls are embedded with silica and thus walls are indestructible. This is also very important. It is made up of silica. This is important, silica, and it is indestructible. They have left behind large amounts of cell wall deposits in habitat leading to diatomaceous earth. Due to cell wall deposition over billions of years, it forms diatomaceous earth. Because this is why? Because due to presence of silica in the cell wall. Only because of this becomes indestructible, and it has been left many large amount of cell wall which forms diatomaceous earth. Being gritty, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. This is also very important. Being gritty, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. Okay, this is all about chrysophytes. The main important point is it is a chief producer in the ocean, and it is made, the cell wall is made up of silica, and this golden algae is also called as desmids. These are the main points. Next, moving to the dinoflagellates. As we know, the order C, D, E, slime molds and protozoans. The same way I am taking you through. Dinoflagellates, these are also mostly marine and photosynthetic. Here, on the basis of the pigments present, it can vary the color from yellow, green, brown, blue or red. These are the colors which can be varied. Now the cell wall has two stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Here there is nothing like a soap box kind. Here just it is like cell wall has two stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Here what you have to remember it is dinoflagellates, means it has two flagellants. Dinoflagellate, two flagella. One will be longitudinal position and the other will be in transverse position. Now here red dinoflagellates is called Goynayclads. It helps in the it does the rapid multiplication, and it is also responsible for the red tide which you can see in the sea, and this releases a toxin which kill many other marine animals. So this is all about dinoflagellates, and this is very important. Red color is Goynayclads. Due to the rapid multiplication, it produces red tides which releases toxin which kill many other marine animals. This is all about chrysophytes and dinoflagellates. Now moving to the euglenoids. Euglenoids, these are the majority are found in fresh water and also in the stagnant water. Stagnant means it is very smelly water. Here in euglenoids, this is important. The cell wall is replaced by a protein-rich layer called pellicle. Protein-rich layer, P protein pellicle. Okay, which makes body flexible. Here also we have two flagella. Here we had one longitudinal, one transverse. Here we have one short and one long. It's simple. Here photosynthetic in presence of light. Yeah, this acts as a photosynthetic in presence of light, but when there is no sunlight, it behaves like a heterotrophic. Means it predates on the small organisms and gets its food. In euglenoids also you have pigments. Pigments of euglenoids are identical to present in higher plants. So euglenoids example will be euglena. Next, moving to the slime molds. In slime molds, saprophytic protists. These are the saprophytic protists. Saprophytic means they depend on the dead organisms. Then this under suitable condition, plasmodium is formed. Under unfavorable condition, fruiting bodies bearing spores are formed at the tip. So suitable plasmodium, unfavorable condition, fruiting bodies bearing spores. Okay, these spores which are produced, they possess true walls. Okay, now extremely resistant and survive for many years even under adverse condition. Even under adverse condition, they can survive for many years as they are extremely resistant. Next, spores are dispersed by air currents. These spores can be dispersed by the air currents. That is nothing but wind. Now, this is all about slime molds. Now, next, moving to the protozoans. Protozoans are heterotrophs, predators, or parasites. They can predate or they can also be a parasite. Okay. As I already told you, protozoans are of 4 types. So, we'll be studying one by one. Amoeboid protozoan. They are found in freshwater, seawater, moist soil. And they have pseudopodia. That is nothing but false feet as in amoeba. Okay. Marine forms has silica shells on the surface. One and all we studied silica here, and now we are studying it here. Marine form has silica shells on the surface. The example of this is Entamoeba, which is a parasite. Now, next one is flagellated. They are free living or parasitic. They may be free living or parasitic. They have flagella. Parasitic form causes diseases like sleeping sickness. This example is Trypanosoma. The flagellated sporozoans can cause diseases like sleeping sickness. Okay, And the flagellated protozoan can be of free living or parasitic form, and as it is flagellated, they will have flagella. And the example is trypanosome. Now moving to the ciliated one. They are aquatic, actively moving due to presence of cilia. As usual, they have cavity. The name of the cavity is gullet that opens to the outside of the cell surface, from the inside to the outside of the cell surface. And the example is Paramecium for ciliated sporozoans, protozoans. Next, coming to the sporozoans, organisms that have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. They have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. Okay. Example is Plasmodium. It is a malarial parasite. Next, moving to the kingdom fungi. We studied Monera, Protista. Now we are going to kingdom fungi. Their cell wall is made up of chitin and polysaccharide. They are heterotrophic organisms. They show great diversity, morphology and habitat. There are abundant fungi. Some unicellular fungi, example yeast, are used to make bread and beer, which will be also studied in the higher class. Disease-causing fungi is wheat rust, Pusunia. Source of antibiotic is penicillin, which we already know. Fungi are cosmopolitan and occur in air, water, soil, and wherever they want they can occur. And this is very important. They prefer to grow in warm and humid places. Okay, fungi prefer to grow in warm and humid places. With the exception of yeast, their bodies consist long, slender, thread-like structures called hyphae. Except yeast, their body consists of long, slender, thread-like structures called hyphae. This is also important. And the network of hyphae is called mycelium. One hyphae, one more hyphae, one more hyphae. And then the network of hyphae is called mycelium. Next, hyphae can be coenocytic or septate. This means continuous tube with multinucleated cytoplasm. If it is present, that is coenocytic. Septate means it has septate or cross walls are present. Okay. Now, hyphae can be also these two, as I already told. On the basis of this also we get the next classifications. Now, most fungi are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means what? They absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrate, that is saprophytes. Okay, whatever I told you here, if they depend on the dead organism, it is called saprophytes. Depending on living plants and animals means parasites. Can live, fungi can also live as a symbionts with algae, as such as in lichens, and with roots of higher plants in mycorrhiza. Okay, if it is with algae, it is lichens. If the fungi lives with the roots of higher plants, it is mycorrhiza. Now moving to the reproduction part of the fungi. These are the very simple way which you can see here. When it is vegetative, if the fungi want reproduction is vegetative, it is fragmentation, fission or budding. Asexual mode of reproduction is conidia, sporangiospores and zoospores. Sexual is oospores, ascospores and basidiospores. These two will come in the respective classification. So these are the various ways in which the reproduction occurs to fungi. So various spores are produced in distinct structures like fruiting bodies. This is important, fruiting bodies. Now coming to the sexual cycle, this is very important and these two questions were asked in the NEET 2021 question paper. So sexual cycle consists of three phases. Like first one is plasmogamy. What happens in plasmogamy? Fusion of protoplasm between two motile or non-motile gametes. This occurs in plasmogamy. Fusion of protoplasm between two motile or non-motile gametes. In karyogamy, the second phase, fusion of two nuclei fuses. In the third stage, meiosis in zygote resulting in the formation of haploid spores. These three are the major steps and which we have to remember. And it is also very important. Now, in sexual phase, two haploid hyphae come and fuse. This happens in the sexual phase. In some fungi, the haploid cells, one haploid and one more haploid, fuse to become diploid cell immediately. Diploid means 2N. It becomes immediately. But in some fungi, which we'll study later also, in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, It is a classification under fungi which we'll study now. An intervening dikaryotic stage, N plus N occurs. This is called dikaryon. In this, it doesn't become diploid immediately. It becomes a separate parent nuclei, then it becomes a 2N diploid cell. Okay, only in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. And this phase is called dikaryophase. This step is called dikaryon, and this phase is called dikaryophase. The later nuclei fuse and becomes diploid. The whatever I told is that the same one is written. First parent nuclei will be there, then it forms a diploid cell. Before that, in other fungi, it becomes 2N immediately. Only in ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, it becomes parent nuclei, then it becomes a diploid cell. Now, see the classification in kingdom fungi. First one is phycomycetes, second one is ascomycetes, third one is basidiomycetes, fourth one is deuteromycetes. So we'll see one by one. The first one is phycomycetes. It is found in aquatic habitats and on decaying wood in moist and damp places or as obligate parasites. This is the place where phycomycetes are found. Here we'll study mycelium, a section in all the classification. Mycelium is aseptate and coinocytic. Asexual reproduction is by zoospores, which is motile, and aplanospores, which is non-motile. And a zygospore is formed by fusion. Here, fusion of two gametes, and when the two gametes are of the same size structure, it is called isogametes, else anisogametes. So the examples of phycomycetes are Rhizopus, Albugo, and Mucor. How to remember the examples? Just remember RAM, R-A-M-P, RAM. So R for Rhizopus, A for Albugo, M for Mucor, and P for phycomycetes. This is the way to remember this. Next, moving on to the ascomycetes. It is also called as sac fungi. The multicellular is penicillin and unicellular is yeast. This is saprophytic, decomposes, parasitic, and coprophilous, which is nothing but they grow on dung. Mycelium may be branched and septate. Asexual reproduction is by conidiospores, and sexual is by ascospores. We learned that time that asco and basidio form sexual spores. Ascocarps are the asci arranged in different types of fruiting bodies. When ascus comes together, it forms ascocarps. Okay. Now, how to remember the example for this? Examples are claviceps, aspergillus, neurospora. Okay. See, Canna, C-A-N-A. A last A stands for ascomycetes, C stands for claviceps, A stands for aspergillus, N stands for neurospora. Canna. And what is important is neurospora is used in biochemical and genetic work as well. Morels and buffels are edible fungi which comes under this class. So this is all about ascomycetes. Now moving to the basidiomycetes. Mushrooms, bracket fungi or puffballs are present in this basidiomycetes. These are parasites. Examples: rusks and smuts. Mycelium here is branched and septate. So what you find here is only here it is aseptate in this one, but otherwise in others it is branched and septate. Right? Here no asexual, but vegetative reproduction is present, that is through fragmentation. There is no asexual reproduction, vegetative is through fragmentation. Now the sex organs are absent here, and in this basidiomycetes, plasmogamy takes place. The resulting structure is dikaryon. As we saw in the last one, how when the parent nuclei are formed, in basidiomycetes, dikaryon stage is formed. Karyogamy and meiosis takes place in basidium. The resulting structure is dikaryon, which is called a basidium. So, in karyogamy and meiosis takes place in basidium. The resulting structure of a dikaryon stage is called basidium, producing 4 basidiospores. This is a number which have to be remembered, 4 basidiospores. Now, what is basidiocarps? As we saw in ascocarp, basidiocarps is basidia arranged in the fruiting bodies. When basidia arranged in the fruiting bodies, it is called basidiocarps. Now the examples are Agaricus, Fusarium and Pusunia. So how to remember? Remember BAPU, BAPU. B stands for Basidiomycetes. A stands for Agaricus, that is nothing but mushroom. P stands for Pusunia, this is dust fungus. How to remember this? PR, PQR. So PR. U stands for Ustiligo, that is mud. Us. Ustiligo, mud. So other one will be rust. One is mud, other is rust. So this is the way to remember. Now next come to the deuteromycetes. This is called imperfect fungi. This is called sac fungi. This is called imperfect fungi. Okay. First, only asexual and vegetative were formed. Vegetative reproductive structures were formed. When sexual was formed, it was moved to ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. Here, asexual reproduction takes like conidiospores, mycelium. Here also it is septate and branched. Everywhere it is septate and branched except in the first one. Here it is aseptate. Okay. Now, few saprophytes, parasites, while large number are decomposers of little and help in mineral cycling. This deuteromycetes, few fungi help in mineral cycling, decomposers of little, and they are saprophytes or parasites. Here the example is Colletotrichum, Alternaria and Trichoderma. How to remember this? Deuteromycetes. DCAT. D stands for Deuteromycetes. Colletotrichum. C, A is Alternaria and T is Trichoderma. So these are the various methods to remember the example. This is Ram, Cana, Bapu and DCAT. Okay. Now we'll move to the next kingdom, that is kingdom Plantae. All eukaryotic chlorophyll containing organisms are called plants. Okay. Cuscuta is a parasite. Bladderwort and Venus flytrap are the insectivorous plants. Life cycle of plants are of two types, diploid sporophytic phase and haploid gametophytic phase. This is called, there is a process called alternation of generation which we'll be studying in the next chapter. Now moving to the next one, that is kingdom Animalia. These are the heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and lack cell wall. We do not have cell wall, we just have cell membrane. They digest their food in an internal cavity and store food reserves as glycogen or fat. Their mode of reproduction is holozoic. Holozoic means ingestion of food. Next, viruses, viroids and lichens. These are not included in the five kingdoms. Only five kingdoms is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. These were not included in the five kingdoms. Viruses are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cell. So the definition of virus is important for boards as well as competitive exams. These names are very important. Virus means venom or poisonous fluid. It was given by Pasteur D.J. Ivanovsky. And this one, M.W. Bejernik, demonstrated that the extract of the infected plants of tobacco could cause infection in healthy plants and called the fluid as Contagium vivum fluidum. He named this fluid as Contagium vivum fluidum. Who named this? M.W. Bejernik. Okay. This was given by Ivanovsky. See, V is that here. So virus was given by him. Fluid was given by Bejernik. And next, W.M. Stanley showed that viruses could be crystallized and the crystal consists largely of proteins. Crystals were given by W.M. Stanley. Okay. Viruses are obligate parasites. Virus contain either RNA or DNA but doesn't contain both of them. Only one it contains. This is also important. When virus infects plants, it may have single-stranded RNA. When it infects animals, it has single-stranded RNA, double-stranded RNA or double-stranded DNA. Any of the one in these three it can consist. Bacterial viruses or bacteriophage has double-stranded DNA. The protein coat called capsid made of small subunits, capsomeres. These are the protein coat called capsid made of small subunit capsomeres. So the protein coat is called capsid and the smaller subunits is capsomeres. Now, the virus diseases also we have to learn how we learn bacterial diseases. So, viral diseases are mumps, smallpox, herpes, influenza and AIDS. And in plants, it causes mosaic formation, leaf rolling and curling, yellowing and green clearing, dwarfing, stunted growth. Now, moving next to the viroids. Viroids are smaller than viruses and cause potato spindle tuber disease. Theodinal. Viroids were discovered by Theodinal. See how to remember this? Viroids, Theodinal, and it caused potato spindle tuber disease. Now, viroids have free RNA and they lack the protein coating. RNA was of low molecular weight. See, viroids, D is there, no? So D, it looks like L. So low molecular weight. This is the way to remember it easy. Now the last topic of this chapter is lichens. Lichens, as we studied earlier, it is symbiotic relationship between algae and fungi. Algal component is phycoband and fungal component is mycoband. How to remember this? Fungal F, mycoband F, M, A, P. Algal is phycoband. Okay. Now, how do they bring symbiotic relationship is algae prepare food for fungi and fungi provide shelter and absorb mineral nutrients and water for its partner. That's nothing but for algae. And lichens are also the very good pollution indicators. By this, we complete the second chapter of Enhancer One Shot series, that is biological classification. And please support us by sharing, liking, subscribing the channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon so that you don't miss out any notification. Thank you all. We'll be doing the next chapter in the upcoming video. Thank you.